That is
No
scary.
big storms here. We are still fairly quiet going into the next 7 days. No heavy downpours anticipated. Nothing in the tropics threatening. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. In fact, we have our own little lightning show, although not nearly as impressive. If you look out to the west and kind of up in the sky, you may see some flashes of light. It is these thunderstorms. It is not heat lightning. There's no such thing. You're just looking at a distant thunderstorm well to the north of Lafayette, almost between Lafayette and Alexandria. These lightning strikes within the thunderstorms are so high we can see the tops of the thunderstorms. And I was actually just looking at those and trying to find where nearby thunderstorms are, and kind of surprising that storms just to the south of Alexandria are showing up on our tower camera there. Occasionally you kind of see the flashes up in the sky just kind of beyond downtown here in some of the buildings. Of course, as I'm tap dancing on this image, we're not going to see any of the lightning. Oh well, it's usually the case. 83 degrees right now at Kenner with a dew point of 78, so still feels like the low 90s, but temperature wise really has not been bad over the last couple of days, and that's if you get into the rainfall. Those temperatures can really come down, but otherwise we kind of struggle to even get up to normal this time of year with the cloud cover. 70s and 80s outside at the moment, and that disturbance that has kept the cloudiness around for the last couple of days is unfortunately leaving us. If we have to deal with anything tropical, I'd rather have one of these kind of tropical waves that doesn't provide heavy rainfall and keeps us under the cloudy skies. While not as pretty, it does keep the temperatures down. But the upper pattern, we've got an upper trough here and an upper high here. As this upper trough moves in from the east and the upper high builds in from the west, this little area of energy is going to kind of get stuck between and brought inland toward the northeast. So it is moving away. And because of that proximity to land is why the Hurricane Center decided to stop marking it with an X, and again, doesn't look like much in the way of torrential downpours from that. Building upper high, though, will start to lead to higher temperatures and less rainfall going from the end of the week into the weekend. So that tropical wave falling apart overnight tonight. I'm hoping we can squeeze out a little bit more rain during the day tomorrow, but I'm inclined to, I've got to set a 50% chance of rain right now. With that disturbance moving out, I'm more inclined to say maybe about a 30-40% chance during the day tomorrow, and probably about a 30% chance as we head into our Thursday. Out in the tropics, we'll start a little closer to home. This is that area that I've been highlighting in our 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts, and now the Hurricane Center is monitoring it or mentioning it. Just to the north of Honduras, where we could see some development is once this system gets over the Yucatan and toward either the Bay of Campeche or the Western Gulf. Right now, though, notice the Euro has that feature kind of moving across the Yucatan, going later into tomorrow night. By Thursday, that's when we might see some organization here, but per this run of the Euro, nothing. And then by Friday, Saturday, that little system is already inland, so a fairly brief window of opportunity to see that develop. Where there is a much larger window of opportunity is Tropical Storm Erin. It still has to traverse the entire tropical Atlantic, and in that time, over the very warm waters and maybe lessening of the dry air, is when we will likely see that start to intensify. Again, the dry air it is battling right now has been holding off its strength, but that is likely to change. What is helping to steer the storm is this big upper level high. We're going to get a break in the high. It's marked off by the red colors, and this upper trough in blue is going to deepen, meaning push farther south, and that should be what attracts the storm northward, making that more dramatic turn as we head into early next week. So by the end of the weekend, we should start to see a little bit of a nudge toward the north and that more dramatic turn as we get into next week. Again, not a threat to the Gulf, and as of right now, not really a threat to the islands nor the East Coast. Hopefully that is the case. I'll say maybe about a 40% chance of rain on Wednesday. We'll drop that to about 30%, and that about is where we're going to stay with our rain chances with high temperatures into the mid-90s going into the weekend and early next week.